And I don't even want to get into Hillary Clinton. She is so bought and paid for. Her and her husband. They come from these secret societies and stuff that are running things. I mean, they're total globalists, total New World Order minions, and have been for a long time. That's well documented. I don't even want to get into it. Okay? And you got all these women running around and men running around. Oh, it'd be cool to have a woman president, and people supporting her just because she's a woman. And that ain't right. And then you got Barack Obama. Oh, yeah, I think it's about time to have a black president. Yeah, that's what we need, someone who really cares about the people. He does not care about you, okay? And you African Americans who think he's so great because he's black, you need to recheck yourself, okay? Recheck what you're talking about here. This guy isn't going to care about you. He's going to continue the war on drugs. He's going to continue to enslave your communities. He's going to continue to destroy the economy and make you even poorer. Okay? I mean, and I'm not saying that to say that, all black people are poor and all this, but if you look at economically disadvantaged neighborhoods, the ghettos, the majority are African American. I mean, that's a fact. That's not racism. Everybody's all quick to say someone's a racism. If you dare say anything, that's against somebody else of a different color or creed. You know what I'm saying? This kind of stuff is what's dividing us. All right? United we stand, divided we fall. We need to stand together. We need to educate our communities. Okay? That's why I do spend a lot of time in the economically disadvantaged ghettos in my area to let people know what's coming down the pipe for them. Okay? And a lot of times they look at me, and a lot of times, sometimes I think like I'm going to get my ass kicked for going down there. But you know what? Oh well. The reason why everybody's getting locked up is because they know that this is where the resistance is going to come from once they found out that they've been sold out. Talking about being sold out. The Bulletin reported Canada being sold out to Mexico and the U.S. And I've talked about this before, how this kind of stuff is coming after. It's going to hurt Canada the worst, this merger, because Canada has a lot of very valuable resources in their country. And the U.S. has been after them for a long time. Okay, so basically what's going on here is U.S. empire moving into globalism is where they want to take advantage of Canada's resources and take advantage of Mexico's cheap labor. Meanwhile, dwindling the middle class in America. As some of you may know, Canada is in the process of aligning its policies with those of the USA very quietly. Without public debate, it's all part of the Security and Prosperity Partnership signed in Waco, Texas in 2005. This is not a left-right issue. Martin signed the accord. Harper is ardently continuing it. And this seems to be a corporate-driven venture. What does SPP mean for Canada? Our resources, or Canadian resources, will be proportionally shared. Huge areas of the U.S. are short of water. Our government is currently moving toward bulk exporting of water. Oil export will continue to increase, now at 63% due to proportional sharing. Lowered environmental and health protection, NAFTA already allows corporations to sue our federal governments when their regulations stand in the way of profit. SPP allows the corporations to sue provinces and municipal governments, which is where safety standards rest. So the policing of the safety standards is in the local, provinces and municipal governments, but yet these agreements here are allowing the corporations to sue them if they stand in the way of their profit. And NAFTA's already been doing this. This is just incredible, and they're expanding on it. And that's exactly what they did over in Europe. They had these so-called free trade agreements that really are not free trade under the globalist system. And they expand on them, and they keep expanding on them, and they keep coming up with these other little programs until eventually the economies collapse and they bring in their solutions, which it was over there, the euro, which is going to be the Amero here. Loss of democracy. It is intended that Canada, U.S., and Mexico will merge into a North American Union, have one currency, the Amero. The union will be overseen by 10 non-elected corporate CEOs from each country. You see what I'm saying here? It's a total takeover. Think tank calls for the United States of Great Lakes. Now, this is crazy here. This was reported on Can West News Service, March 25th, 2008. And you might say, well, I've never heard of Can West News Service. Well, of course you haven't. If you haven't looked past the corporate-owned media that you see on CNN and Fox and all them, ABC, CBS, most of the newspapers are owned by globalists, then of course you haven't seen this. Of course you haven't heard of this. Of course this information will sound foreign to you. See, what I'm saying and what people don't understand is, well, that sounds crazy what he's talking about. Well, that's because you've been used to the same food for so long that anything that comes in, tastes a little different, boy. That's foreign to you. Oh, that's crazy because it's not what you're used to. It's not the fluff that you're used to being handed to you. A report from a prestigious U.S. think tank released Sunday argues that Canada and the U.S. should work together with the aim of creating a common market for commerce and or about by 2030 for states and provinces in the Great Lakes Basin. The Brookings Institute, in a paper entitled The Vital Connection, Reclaiming Great Lakes Economic Leadership in a Binational U.S.-Canadian Region, notes, quote, if it stood alone as a country, the report says, it would be the second biggest economic unit on Earth, second only to the U.S. economy as a whole, and larger than Japan, the rising powers of China and India, and the traditional heavyweights of Germany and the U.K. So what they're saying is if we can just get this Great Lakes region, all these, the provinces and the states that are surrounding the Great Lakes and make that a country in and of itself, that would be the second largest economic force on the planet. You see what I'm saying? This is all driven by profit. Okay, and it totally ruins our Constitution. It totally ruins our sovereignty. And if you don't know what sovereignty means our nation is supposed to be sovereign. Our states, individual states, are supposed to be sovereign. Okay, and what that means is void of outside influence, void of outside control. And you understand, this is what's happening here. Is we're losing our sovereignty to outside control. Now we're having people who have no interest in, have no vested interest in what is good for us, but what's good for them. And McCain here, he's urging a new global compact, a league of democracies. Remarks by John McCain to the Los Angeles World Affairs Council. And you got to keep your eye on these councils.